Okay, so you know what? Nickelodeon obviously hates me. And you know why? Because on the week that they released Nickelodeon Kart Racers and I had this whole week planned out of Nickelodeon Kart Racing content, they drop a bombshell on me about the new SpongeBob movie, It's a Wonderful Sponge. We got details on what the plot is going to be, and I read up on it. I know I had to make a video about it, but there's a problem I have with it. What is that problem? Let's find out right now. Hello there, beautiful human. My name is RidersDX and welcome to my channel, where this time I'm talking about the new SpongeBob movie, It's a Wonderful Sponge. So we didn't know much about this movie up to this point, but recently there was some kind of conference that happened, and then like this person named Mirio Soria, I think that's how you say her name. Ugh, God, I hate names. She is the president of Paramount Animation, which is pretty cool. So she had this talk going on in like Italy, I think, some kind of conference, and in the conference she reviewed some details about the new SpongeBob movie's plot. And so we're gonna go over those details right now and talk about what we think about them. But please give this video a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe to my channel if you like videos like these, you want to see more in the future. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter at RidersDX or join my Discord server, the Spongy Garden. But yes, let's get into the meat of this talk and see what we know now about the new SpongeBob movie. So here's a quote from the actual talk. For the first time ever, we're going to get to the origin of how little SpongeBob met the rest of the Bikini Bottom gang at summer camp, Soria said during her talk. The film's opening will take place at Camp Coral when all of our favorite characters meet for the first time. So I thought that this sounded pretty interesting actually for a SpongeBob plot, because it's not really something that we've explored at all in SpongeBob. So, you know, SpongeBob is not really a plot-heavy series overall. I mean, SpongeBob's basically been the same age for, what, 11 seasons now? So, SpongeBob doesn't really have a lot of progression in terms of, like, you know, learning from his past mistakes and getting into new situations based on, like, prior events. You know, that kind of thing. SpongeBob has always been, like, a very run-of-the-mill kind of show, you know? Oh, what thing are they doing now this episode, and etc, etc. So having an origin story that kind of explains like how SpongeBob came to be, that sounds like a really interesting idea, and it's definitely something I think would be appropriate to be explored in a movie. However, there's something very wrong with this statement that I don't like. Here's what it is. So she talks about how SpongeBob is going to be meeting like the whole Bikini Bottom gang. And what does she mean by Bikini Bottom gang? I'm assuming this is referring to Patrick, Squidward, Mr. Krabs, Sandy, Plankton, you know, etc, etc. All those different characters that are part of the main SpongeBob cast. I mean, who else would it be, right? This film, from what it looks like, is going to explain how they all met for the first time and how they came to be who they are right now. But the problem with that is, we already know a little bit about how they all met each other, at least for some of the characters. And when did we learn about that? In the very first season. So remember that very first SpongeBob episode, Help Wanted? This is the episode where SpongeBob met Mr. Krabs. And in that episode, obviously, we all know it very well. SpongeBob goes to the Krusty Krab, applies for a job, comes back and saves their butts, and SpongeBob becomes the fry cook of the Krusty Krab, and continues to do so forever and ever and ever and ever. There was also another episode called Tea at the Tree Dome, where SpongeBob meets Sandy and tries to impress her by pretending he can breathe in the air. That's still such a great classic episode, I can't. And it was so relatable because, you know, that's how we all feel around like girls and guys that we like, you know? So it's really cool. But anyway, that's off topic. So when Soria talks about meeting the rest of the Bikini Bottom gang, I'm assuming this like includes Mr. Krabs, Sandy, and Plankton. But SpongeBob's already met them in the first season. So if this movie was supposed to like actually talk about how SpongeBob met these three characters in a camp, then that basically like reckons the whole first season, right? Which is like completely wrong to do. Like totally disrespectful to like where the show came from. Like, okay, I could kind of take into account that maybe they're just gonna be like, oh, don't worry about like continuity issues, we just want to tell a good story with these characters about how SpongeBob might have come to be if he did meet everyone at Camp Coral but I just think that like this is a movie that's gonna have a bigger reach than the TV show ever will. Like, I don't know why people are so much more into movies than TV shows. It's just weird because TV is so much more accessible, but movies like broaden the range of like these franchises so much more. But anyway, that's a different topic for another day. There was about a million other plot ideas they could have done instead of this one, and they decided to go with the one that's just like really inconsistent with the show's history. I just don't know why they would choose to go with this over anything else. And you know what? It's gonna insult a lot of like older SpongeBob fans because they're all gonna come into the movie and be like, hey, this is not how SpongeBob met Mr. Krabs, Sandy, and Plankton. He met them in the first season, bro. Like, come on, how can you not get this right? You know, it is a small thing, but it's such an important thing because these are really like ingrained in the history of SpongeBob, these events. And a lot of like older fans are gonna be the people watching this movie. So I just don't see how it's like such a smart decision from like a business standpoint either. Because come on, like maybe the team making this movie are like not the hugest SpongeBob fans, but they had to have done their research at least. They had to have at least watched the first season of all seasons. Like the first season should be the one that like you should be familiar with at least. And the fact that they might possibly make a plot that totally like disregards what development we had in the first season, I just think that's just careless and disrespectful to older fans, and it's totally unnecessary. There could be other plots that you could do, or you could even like maybe just not include those characters in the movie, but I think it'd still be kind of strange to not have Mr. Krabs, Sandy, or Plankton be a sizable part of the movie. I mean, I guess it's possible. Maybe the movie will focus solely on SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward, which might actually be a decent movie actually, because the first movie focused a lot on SpongeBob and Patrick, their relationship, and how they came to accept how childish they are, and that it's okay to be a kid at heart even as a grown-up. So maybe we can have some kind of special plot development going on with SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward. Maybe those three are the ones that met in a camp. But because Soria said that this is how the whole Bikini Bottom gang meets, I'm assuming that she's referring to the whole cast. Because otherwise she would have just said SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward, right? Because when you say the whole gang, it refers to like the whole main cast of characters. So I just don't see how you could spin it any other way. I'm pretty sure that's what she's referring to. So I don't know. This is a lot of speculation. There's a lot we still don't know about the movie. But from what it sounds like so far, I mean, it's an interesting plot line. Don't get me wrong. I'll be interested in seeing like how they plan it out at least and see how the movie is. So I don't think I'm gonna be too bothered by the fact that they're rewriting how the characters met, because I'm still gonna try to enjoy the movie for what it is. But I just think that it's so unnecessary because it's such a small thing that they could have avoided. They could have totally just went with another plot idea or wrote it a little bit differently to make it so that you could still keep season 1 intact, which is like, of all the seasons you're gonna mess with in terms of like plot development and like character history, that's just like so careless and just so like idiotic. Because SpongeBob fans are pretty intense, you know, like we yell at people if they don't understand our memes. Like that's how intense SpongeBob fans can get, and it's kind of funny. It's silly. It's funny, but it's all in good fun. But I just think that like for like an official SpongeBob movie that's supposed to be attached to the franchise forever, you'd think you'd respect your source material more. But from what it sounds like, they're just not giving a care about the source material at all. So I don't know. We'll just have to see with time. We're gonna have to see if we get any more plot details, and maybe there's some kind of explanation that can explain all of this. But right now, when I read that simple explanation, these are the thoughts that immediately came to mind, because this doesn't make sense in the context of like SpongeBob's timeline. So before we end this video, I'm just gonna go over some of the other details that were revealed to us during the talk. We do know that It's a Wonderful Sponge is kind of play off the original film, It's a Wonderful Life, and she does say that it's a nice homage to the classic movie. So there's definitely gonna be some aspects of It's a Wonderful Sponge that's gonna pay homage to It's a Wonderful Life. So I'm liking it because it seems like there's gonna be a little bit more emotion, a little bit more plot development in this movie compared to like the second one, which I did feel like plot development lacked a little bit in Sponge Out of Water. That's just my personal opinion. So if we could have something more similar to the first movie, then I'd be really happy about that. And also, Soria mentioned that this film is going to offer the first ever full CG version of the universe, which I do have mixed feelings about. I mean, while I am going to miss the animated nature of the TV show and the first movie, at the same time, it's nice that they are trying to go for something a little bit different, because they could easily just make another SpongeBob movie just like the first two, but it's better that they're trying to try different things to make this movie stand out on its own, because SpongeBob's gonna be here for a while. Like, honestly, he's probably gonna keep making more movies, he's gonna keep making more episodes, he's gonna keep making more merchandise, more video games, etc. So the more chances they try to make their products different from what happened in the past, the better. And plus, CGI so much more better in the movie theaters than 2D animation, which is kind of sad, but it's just the reality of it. So from a financial standpoint, it makes sense. The film is being animated by people that did Captain Underpants, the first epic movie, and are currently working on Asterix, The Secret of the Magic Potion. I've never heard of either of those movies, so if anyone knows about those movies, then tell me in the comment section below about them a little bit. I really appreciate that. And also, we have Hans Zimmer scoring the new SpongeBob film, and there's also going to be a lot of songs from like celebrities, which I guess is cool. I don't really care too much about it. Unless Taylor Swift is in there, then I'm gonna care a lot about it. But anyway, that's pretty much everything for this video. Like, that's pretty much everything I wanted to talk about. I do have a lot of concerns about the plot of this movie, as I explained previously. But let me know in the comment section below whether you agree with me, or whether you disagree with me, or whether you have any other thoughts about the movie's plot that you would like to share with everyone in the community. The movie's a long time away. It's not going to come out for 2 years, so we're going to learn about so much more in terms of the movie in the next coming years. So it'll be very interesting to see what we know about it in the near future. But anyway, please give this video a thumbs up if you like it, subscribe to my channel if you like videos like these and want to see more in the future. Go ahead and follow me on Twitter at RidersDX, or join the Discord server, the Spongy Garden. But yes, that is everything. RidersDX is out. Bye bye everyone.